Surprise!
I'm
No
not
Maureen
Maureen.
today.
I'm not
Good
Maureen.
morning, everybody, or good afternoon, or good evening, and like we say, howdy.
Hey.
We don't have a Maureen this morning. As you can plainly see, we have a Miss Froggy.
Hey.
Miss Maureen is still on the road, coming
Yes.
home from or not coming home, coming back to Florida from Texas. She's been on a little bit of a vacation to see family and friends, and she is on the way back home as we speak on the road. Hey,
Yes.
Maureen, if you're listening, love you, sis, and I sure miss you. I
We
hope
miss
y'all are
you.
safe. Can't wait to see you get back.
And be careful on the road. We love you.
Yes, be very careful. Hey, Daddy, if you're watching,
Hey,
my
Connie's
dad
here.
watches. Isn't that cool?
I think that's awesome.
That is so cool.
Hi, Connie's here.
Alrighty. Who have we got in the chat? You can see better than I can this morning.
Okay.
Let's
Well,
say
let's
it.
say hello to Michelle Mosaic some more. Nami G. Carrie, thank you for the stampede.
Yes,
LG Homestead. Sharing,
yes.
sharing. Coffee Angel Crafts. Crafting Adventures with Amy. And Crafty Corner 6 and Leslie of the Corn.
Woo-hoo. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for coming in. A special thank you to LG Homestead. How's it going, Lori and Greg? And Coffee Angel Crafts. Thank you, Lynette. I appreciate it. I don't usually associate you guys with our type of crafting, but we love to have you anyway.
And hit those thumbs up, guys. It really helps out the channel.
Yes, yes. And I'm gonna throw a punch in here for Miss Maureen because now YouTube has changed their um logistics, I guess you can say. You only have to have 500 subscribers, and how many watch hours was it?
3,000 watch hours.
3,000 watch hours. Well, Miss Maureen is at 482 the last look that I had. So
Yeah.
if you guys are not subbed to her, please go over and give her a sub. Watch
Yeah.
a video, leave a comment so it'll stick. And she's got all of her videos now compiled into one playlist. If you will look on the playlist and just click that and play all and let it run in the background, that'll help her get her hours up so that she can get monetized. And I really, really, really want to see her get monetized.
That would be fantastic.
Wouldn't it be amazing? She deserves it so
Yeah.
much. She works so hard. So,
She
so hard.
does. She does.
So,
Hey, Laura.
oh, okay, she said, hey, Laura. Hey, everybody else. My Leslie of the Corn and Crafty Corner 6. You told me who you was.
That's Mary.
Yes, that's Mary. Hey, Mary.
Hey, Mary.
And Amy and Sharon. All you guys. Nammy G. Gumdrop forever.
Hey,
Yes, ma'am.
Gumdrop.
Come right on in.
It's good
But
to see you.
today, we're going to talk about some tips and tricks.
Yeah.
Maureen just has worried me to death about doing this. I don't know why. I mean, she has worried me half to death about this. And I'm telling her, I don't know any. She's like, yes, you do.
You
Every
do?
time somebody comes to you to ask you something, you tell them something different. And, yada, yada. And I'm like, that's not tips and tricks. That's just helping somebody.
Yes, but those are good tips. Those are really good tips.
Yeah, well, you know how Maureen is. If you when you help her out with any kind of stitch or anything, she is really appreciative because she does work really, really hard on her channel to
Yes.
try to do her videos and do them correctly and do them so that everybody understands. And if she can learn something new, then she's gonna share it with everybody else.
Oh, yes.
So that's why I reckon she's aimed for me to just keep on about this. But I thought that I would start with no abbreviations, because if you don't know what your abbreviations are, you cannot read a pattern.
Exactly.
You can't follow a chart, can't read a
No,
pattern. You're just lost.
you
That's
are.
the very first thing that I learned
It's
when I started
abbreviations.
crocheting. And it's not hard to learn. It's really
No.
not. I mean, if you think about it, a single crochet, which is a SC,
Here's
you,
some abbreviations for you.
yes, there's a lot of them. I was thinking just absolutely uh, uh, like the basics. Not those go into way
Well,
detail.
there's your chain,
Oh
and
yeah,
there's your
yeah,
double crochet.
they tell the regulars too, but
There's your single slip
uh huh,
stitch,
uh huh,
your treble.
yeah.
But these have a lot more in there too. This particular book has a lot more.
Yes, and they're good to know. They really are. They're good to know. If you ever come across them in a pattern that you're doing, you have to, other than the absolute basics, you have to look at what the designer is meaning by a V stitch or a puff stitch or a bobble or a popcorn. You have to see what the designer means for you to do in that particular pattern for those types of stitches. But now a single crochet and a double crochet and a treble and a double treble and triple, all that's pretty much going to stay the same no matter
Yes.
what designer you use or what type of pattern it is. Right, Fergie? I mean,
Yes.
pretty much everybody.
Those are standards.
Yeah, that's universal basically, except for UK stuff, and they're screwed up to start with, so we won't worry about
Shout out to Dan.
that. Yeah, Dan, love you. Um, it's if you don't know your symbols, then you're constantly gonna be going back to the first of the pattern, just back and forth, and you can get frustrated doing that. You can give
Yes.
up. You just get aggravated with it. You don't want to mess with it anymore. But if you'll learn what those abbreviations mean, then it'll make it so much easier all the way down the line, because
Yeah.
it only gets easier as you learn them, because the standards that you learn are the basics for all the bigger stitches.
Yes.
So if you have like a back post double crochet or a front post double crochet, as long as you know the symbol, the abbreviation for double crochet, which is DC, the front post or back post is just added to the front of that double crochet. The front post will be a FP, the back post will be a BP. And
So
then,
if you know your
all
basics, all the other fancy stitches are built upon the basics.
yes, they just add to them. They add letters to them. Basically, it's just letters. If you think about it, it makes sense, because a single crochet is SC,
Hmm.
single crochet. Double crochet is a DC.
Hmm.
Okay, a treble crochet, they just do a TR because it's treble, but you know it's a crochet, so you don't really need the C on the end of it. But they try to use at least two letters of the stitch when they're describing it for an abbreviation. That way you don't get confused with anything else, I
Well, they try
guess.
to use two letters to keep the pattern as clean as possible because
Yes, yes,
you get
yes,
too many letters in there, it just messes it up and it makes it more wordy than it needs to be.
yes, absolutely. And Leslie wants to know, what are the tricks for learning to read a chart? There are shawl patterns I won't, but because they don't have written instructions. The tips for reading a chart, I would say, is if you break it down and you look at most charts. Now they're all going to be possibly a little different from the different styles of the designers. I haven't seen a lot that's any different, but if you get to looking at some of the Russian or Japanese or what is the other one? Olga Patova. I think she's Russian, isn't she?
Hmm.
And then there's more that are like
You have Russian, Japanese, Chinese, you
Chinese. Yeah,
have Ukrainian.
that's what
Um,
I was trying to think of. Ukrainian. Those over there. Everybody does slightly different because it's different countries and stuff. But if you're reading a chart from an American designer, they're pretty much all going to be the same.
well, all symbols are universal when you're
Hmm.
doing charts.
Hmm.
However, when you get into the fancier stitches, some designers may change it up a little bit, but all symbols are universal.
Hmm.
So it is easier when it comes to that. Um, it helps if you kind of memorize the basic symbol to
Yes.
what it means.
Hmm.
So the oval meaning chain,
Hmm.
and
And a
so on and so forth.
single is a dot.
Yeah,
Hmm.
the dots.
And the rest of them, the way I learned to read the chart was the T is the basic symbol of the rest of the stitches. Okay.
Yes,
A double crochet is going to have one line across here, and that means yarn over one time.
yes,
The next stitch up is a treble. That means it'll have two lines across
yes.
here. Okay. That means yarn over twice.
That's
That's the
exactly
way
it.
I got it in my head to remember the
That's how
big
I remember.
bigger stitches. But now when you get into like the popcorns and the stuff like that, it's not difficult because if you break down one little stitch to the diagram, it's still going to be a double crochet. That's
Yes.
one line across. You're just going to do five in the same stitch.
Yep.
That's all it is. If you break it down, if it's a treble bobble, you're still just yarning over twice. It'll have two lines across, you know, and you just put them all into the same stitch. If you
Yep.
if you break down each line, the charts will be 99% of the time. One line or one row will be one color. The next one will be a different color so that they can keep them separated a little better that way.
Yes.
And you just go one row at a time, just like you would if you were reading it. You do it the same exact way. But if you learn, again, the symbols and the abbreviations, the chart works so much easier to me than trying to read it out in a paragraph. It just
Yes.
goes faster, seems
I
like.
agree. Charts are easier. The nice thing about charts is it shows you the layout of what your item is going to look like.
Yes,
And then
exactly.
you're enabled to do some of the Japanese designs and Russian designs and other other designers you wouldn't normally be able to do because their patterns are written in their language.
That's correct. But the symbols are still going to be the same.
Universal.
Mhm.
Which
Most
is
of the
great.
time, I've seen a couple that
Very
had some
rarely. It
weird
does
stuff in
happen.
it. Yeah, yeah, it's rare, and
It
I'm in
does
a couple of patterns, and I only have like 400 million,
Yeah,
maybe.
you'll come across a weird symbol, but usually when I would come across a strange symbol, I would substitute it with something else, and it
Hmm.
would come out just perfectly
Be
fine.
be fine. You learn to adapt
Mhm.
something that you don't understand. You can still do the pattern or the chart and just adapt what you don't understand or don't know the symbol is, you can,
Yes.
substitute, like Froggy said, with something that you do know, and it's still going to be a beautiful, beautiful item, no matter what you do with it. The more familiar you become with the stitches and the symbols and the abbreviations, then the easier it's going to be for you to substitute. That's
Hey,
when you become
hmm
more than a beginner.
hey, Brad. Hey, Suzanne. LG Homestead. Thank you for coming in and showing support to Connie. I hope
Thank
you
you
have a
so
great
much.
day.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Yes,
Uh,
Mary Crafty Corner 6 asked me the other day, what was the 8 wrap double crochet? And I was
yes.
like, uh, don't know. I haven't ever done that stitch. Let me look and see where you're at. What pattern are you on?
Yep.
So I looked at the same pattern she was looking at. And I said, oh, that's just, instead of yarning over one time for a double crochet, you yarn over 8 times. And she was like, oh, I don't know if I can do that. And I said, yes,
You
you
can
can.
do it.
If you can do a double crochet, you can do a 8 yarn over double crochet, because you just keep yarning over and pulling through two until you finish the stitch. It's exactly the same. All you do is just keep yarning over, pulling through two until you finish the stitch. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And that brings me into my next tip. And Maureen was absolutely adamant that I talk about this. She was having trouble with when she would do a treble crochet or bigger stitches
hmm
with the beginning loop that
Yes.
she had on her hook. When she would yarn over twice and go to do her stitch, by the time she yarned over, pulled through two, yarn over, pulled through two, she'd get down to that last loop, then the loop would be about this big.
Yeah.
And she said, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I don't know how to fix it. I can't make it come out where it looks good. I hate this stitch. And I was like, no, 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 no. Don't hate the stitch. Let me tell you a little thing that I learned. When you start yarning over, you yarn over twice, give it a little tug, your working yarn. Give it a little tug, pull it down really snug, let it roll over your hook when you're yarning over. Pull your working yarn until all of these loops, even the beginning loop, kind of slide over your hook. Okay? Put your finger on it to hold it. When you begin to do your stitch, you put it in the stitch, yarn over, pull up your loop, yarn over, and pull through two. Then put your finger back on it. Don't let it slip off no more than you can help. And continue doing your stitch like that until you get to the very last. And when you turn it loose, that beginning loop is going to stay small. It's very, very easy. It sounds complicated, but it's very, very easy if you'll just try it. Just when you yarn over twice, pull your yarn, your working yarn, until it slide all the loops slide over your hook till they're real snug, real tight. Put your finger on, hold it, then do your stitches. And when you get down to the very last, turn it loose. That beginning loop is still going to be the same size you started with. And she was just amazed that works. It really does work, and it
Yes.
only takes just a little bit to get used to doing the stitch that way, and it makes it a lot prettier. It, like you said, they'll make the beginning loop be huge. You know, if you tug it down, then it's going to be really, really nice. It's going to look the same as the stitches before and after. So
It's awesome. And Lynette says, I like the charts because they show exactly where to put stitches and joins on the more complicated patterns. And
absolutely.
Sharon, it's good to see you, Sharon. Sharon said, Virus Shawl was where I really learned reading patterns and charts.
Yes,
That's
that's a good
wonderful.
one because it's
And
all simple
it
uh,
is.
stitches. Yes.
And Leslie said, well, I guess if I try the chart and I can't get it, I can always send it to my fairy to finish for me.
Shame
No, ma'am.
on you. Shame, shame,
No,
shame.
no, you
Your
have,
little fairy will help you finish it
I was going to
by
say, you
teaching you
have
how to read the
friends
chart.
that will gladly help you.
Yes.
It's not a problem. We don't mind helping.
I know that you can do it, Leslie. I really do. There's no
Oh, I
doubt
think
in
you
my
can do
mind.
it.
No doubt in my mind that you can read a chart just as well as you can read it in paragraph form. Or
Yes.
if it's a big paragraph and you rewrite it, it's the same thing. Same thing. You're just looking at a symbol instead of words.
Yep.
Same thing.
Now,
Okay.
I personally can't read charts.
Well, that's because of your eyesight. You
That's
know.
because I'm blind. So,
Well, because of the way that you see,
yes,
the
it's
lines being so wavy and
they're
everything.
wavy and stuff. The symbols move around, so my
Yes.
symbols don't stay in order. So
Yes.
I can't do that anymore. I
Yeah.
wish I could.
Yes.
Believe me, I wish I
I'm
could.
sure. I'm
I
sure.
used to be able to.
Yeah.
I
But,
loved
but,
it.
but other than that, unless you have some type of a vision problem, there's
Charts are great.
charts are amazing. They really are. And
I
it's
love
just
those.
another tool in your crochet repertoire, as they
Yes.
say, that you can say, I mastered, you know.
Yeah.
It
I
is a
prefer
lot easier.
charts.
Yes, I do too. Any day of the week, I prefer a chart. I,
Yes,
I
because they're
don't get
easier.
I don't get lost if I'm looking at a chart.
No.
If I'm reading a big paragraph full of da 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 da, da, and I'm crocheting and I get to a point, okay, what was it I do next? And I look back up at my pattern, I've got to read that whole thing all the way back over again just to get to where I need to be at. Where if I'm at a chart, all I got to do is glance at it. There's a picture of exactly what I'm doing. Exactly what I'm doing. So I
Hey,
know
Kim.
immediately.
Hi, Kim.
Hey, Kim. The next thing I wanted to talk about was changing your hook. Okay. If you have yarn that is just so aggravating to work with, you hate it, change your hook. If you're using, say, just for instance, a clover or more, okay, try furls. If you don't have a furls, try a buoy. It makes a huge difference. I mean, it just, I cannot explain it well enough to describe what a big, big difference it is. Even though you can say, oh, I'm a boy girl or I'm a clover girl. No, no.
You know, I had it happen to me. I'm working with yarn and it's splitting to high hem in it now. And I've been crocheting for many, many years. And I had a good friend tell me if it's splitting that bad, try a different hook. Now, you guys know I'm a furls girl.
Yep.
I mean, big time furls girl.
Mm-hmm.
And this great friend told me to switch my hook up. I said, "What? No, that doesn't make sense." She said, "No, switch your hook up."
It
I
doesn't.
switched over to a clover. The yarn stopped splitting. I felt like an idiot. It works. Whether you switch to a boy, a Bates, a store
A
brand,
base, yes, that's what.
a store brand, an
Yes,
Amazon brand,
absolutely.
um, it doesn't matter. If your
Just
yarn
try
is
another hook.
splitting or squeaking, switch
Yes.
to a different brand of hook. A cheap bamboo. Doesn't
Yep.
matter.
Yep. That's
Try a
right.
different hook.
Yep.
It will stop. Even if you have to try three different hooks, you'll
Yep.
find one where it won't squeak and it won't split.
And it
I
won't
didn't believe it.
be hard to, when you yarn over and pull the loop through. Sometimes when you pull the loop through, it'll catch on itself and it boogers up and makes them. Uh, it won't do that either. Now, I'm seriously telling you, I did not believe it until
Didn't
I saw it myself.
I didn't believe it
Because,
till I did it.
yep,
I
I
thought,
used to be a absolute die hard boy girl. Nothing but, wouldn't try nothing else. No doubt about it.
yeah.
And when I was using the hooks, there were certain ones, like, just for instance, the Caron Simply Soft.
Hmm.
No, for me, it does not work with a boy hook. Does not do it. I mean, just drive you out of your mind, splitting and hanging on itself, and just absolutely drive you nuts bad. I changed to the Clover Amore. I love it.
I don't have a problem with it. I use a clover more on it, and I
See,
have no problems with it. I have some on the shelf.
and then once you do that, believe me, once you try that, once you try changing your hook up, if you're having a problem with the yarn, change your brand of hook up. Once you try that, you're going to remember the next time that you start a project with that yarn. Oh, wait a minute. Nope, I need to use such and such hook with this one. And it's every time. And believe me, you will remember it because it's amazing the difference it will make. I mean, I was just, I wouldn't believe it until I tried it. I
No,
honestly would not. But it's
no,
amazing the difference that it
it
will make.
does. Lynette, I don't use a button. I use what's called a pony bead, and it is a larger bead, and that's what I use. And yes, it does help.
Yes, it does. Yes.
Mhm.
If you have something that you've tried different hooks and everything else and it still doesn't work, that's a very, very good tip. If you know the yarn is going to do it, no matter which hook you use, then it's good to use a bead on it to hold it together. Or a button. Like Lynette said, you can thread a button through it. Just,
It makes a
same
difference.
thing. It makes a big, big difference. It really does. Thank you, Lynette. That was an absolute good
I
tip
love that.
about the button. Absolutely. And I wanted to say, start small.
Yeah.
If you're a new crocheter, for Pete's sake, don't pick up a dream catcher doily.
No.
Don't try to do that first. Because, you know, if it's hard, you're doing something wrong. Whether it be you've got too advanced of a pattern, or you need a different hook, or whatever the case may be. If you start small and work your way up, then you are going to find it is so, so simple. And you will look back and say, geez, Louise, why in the world didn't I get this to start with? This is so easy. Believe me, if
Yes.
it's hard,
Yeah.
something you're doing, you could be doing differently to make it easy. But the mainest thing is do not start with the biggest doily that you can find and lace weight yarn. Don't do that to yourself.
No,
Start small.
it's better to start small, a smaller project, because you get instant gratification
Yes, ma'am.
instead of a larger project, which could take you a month,
Mm.
and the
Then you're like,
gratification
oh,
takes
I hate this.
longer. Yes,
Crocheting is not for me. I'm just, oh, I can't do this anymore. I can't stand it. You'll
yes,
get absolutely frustrated if you start with something big. You're gonna get sick of it before you
yeah.
finish it. You will.
Like a blanket. Blankets make
Yes.
you sick before you're done with them.
That's an excellent reminder. My very best friend I had in the world, she passed away from cancer, but I taught her to crochet mm, right before she got sick because she wasn't able to get up and do things like she used to could. So she wanted something to occupy her mind and her hands. So I taught her to crochet. Okay, the first thing she set into doing was she was going to make blankets for her daughter and her two grandsons
Mm.
for Christmas. I was like, you might not want to do that. Oh, yeah, yeah, I think I've got this. I think I've got it. And I'm like, just remember, I tried to tell you, you might not want to do that. She was so sick of making those blankets, and they
Yeah.
were simple as they could be, nothing but double crochets, back and forth until she got it the size she wanted it to be. But she was so sick of them, she didn't ever pick up anything else.
That's
She gave
sad.
up. She quit.
Yeah.
She could not stand it after that. And I was like, I tried to tell you you didn't want to do that.
Mm.
But you do live and learn. But that's why I'm saying start small. Just like Proggy said, get something like a washcloth or a hand towel
Yeah.
or oh Froggy, come on, help me. What's something else small?
A hat, a
Yes,
cowl.
yes, yes,
A cowl, as opposed to a scarf, a cowl is much smaller.
yes,
That would be good. Bren Michelle said she starts people on coasters and dishcloths to learn stitches.
yes.
And I
Coasters.
think that's great.
Yes, ma'am. And the difference between that can be too also learning to crochet in the round or learning to go back and forth in rows. That there's a
Hi,
big difference.
Dan.
Yes.
Hey, Dan.
Hey Dan, thank you for coming in. Yes, mug rugs. Yep, yep, yep.
Yes, those are great ideas.
Hmm. Yeah, and Brian says she likes it when patterns have charts and directions together because it helps her see if she don't understand something. Yes,
Yes, that's
absolutely.
great.
You get an
That's great.
instant picture of what your project should look like if you're looking at a chart. If you
Yes.
really, need a little help here and there, go back to your directions, read the row, then go over and look at the chart and start at the beginning row of the chart and follow it up as, you're reading. Look at the chart. That'll help you immensely to understand what that chart is telling you because it's just a physical picture of what you're reading. That's
Oh,
the only
yeah.
difference.
Sharon says, if you get some crazy, funky, artsy yarn, crochet it as scrap and use it for army stuffing. It would depend
Absolutely.
on the arty yarn. I may use it as trim on something, the trim for a brim of a
Mm-hmm,
hat,
mm-hmm,
or trim for the top of socks, the
mm-hmm.
edging on sleeves on a sweater,
Absolutely.
edging on gloves or mittens. But yes,
Mm-hmm.
if it was really bad, I might cut it up and put it inside an amigurumi. I
Yeah,
am known for stuffing my amigurumi with my yarn scraps. You know those little
absolutely.
ends that you trim off and they're like this long?
Yep,
I
yep, yep.
store them in a plastic bag right here next to me that
Mm-hmm.
it's hanging off my cart. And I have polyfill in there and I store my yarn scraps in there and I mix it all up. And then I stuff
Flip it
my
up.
amigurumi with
Mm-hmm,
it.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And that's
Work.
an excellent way not to waste.
I don't waste any of it. I don't throw away any yarn scraps. They all go in there.
Absolutely.
I use
Absolutely.
them all. I've
That
actually had one amigurumi that was completely stuffed with yarn. It
that
was
is
all
an
yarn
excellent tip though,
scraps.
because most people do throw those away. They most
No,
of
I
them
keep them all. I do. I don't throw
do.
any of them away.
If you learn to be frugal with your yarn, then you can do everything that you need to do with what you purchase.
Well, I find it much better. It's not a plastic bag, I guess you could say. It's a grocery bag thingy. Let me pull it up.
Well,
If I
welcome in here, Polly's Crochet Creations Battle. Tori,
This is it, and it's filled with yarn
good grief.
with polyfill. Let me see if where the yarn scraps end. The yarn scraps end up mixed in the polyfill,
And they fall to the bottom
and
also.
they fall to the bottom. And but there's yarn scraps in here. I mean, there is just so much in here. Oh, I have a needle ended up in there because it had yarn attached to it.
Ah,
It did. It had yarn attached to it. But
there's a spool of something. Yep. Yep.
so look, see, here's yarn scraps,
Yep. Just
and
little
they're
trims. Yep.
little trims, and I put them in with my polyfill. Because I mean, I have all kinds of trims in here. Look, here's
Mm-hmm.
another one,
Yep.
and I just stick them in there
Yep.
because
That
when
saves buying a polyfill.
it saves on my polyfill. Now, when you're someone like me, I have to save on polyfill because, well, here we go, amigurumis.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to save on polyfill.
And it can get expensive too.
It does. Hey, Tori. Yeah, I have to save on my polyfill.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I do have a big old box right here, but when you consider the number of amis I make, I need to save a little bit on polyfill.
Yeah, mostly. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Mm,
because it does get expensive. The polyfill
it does.
it just keeps going up and up and up. I don't care where you buy it from or when or who or how. It just keeps going up, just like everything else.
All right, my
And
next,
little bit you can save is good.
I have another tip.
Go ahead, Frank.
You can get this from Etsy, or you can get a label maker and do this. If you own Furls hooks, specifically the Odysseys, and you see how they label them, you're not going to be able to read the letter, but you see how they label them right there.
One little bitty sticker. Yep.
Little stickers. I actually bought these from Etsy, and it tells me
wonderful.
the number and the letter size. Now, I have some that have been on here for more than a year, and I just recently bought more. These stickers are amazing. I had to buy more. You know, I mean, I've got tons of these stickers right here.
Mm-hmm.
These stickers are unbelievable, and this is so you can quickly find your Odyssey. But I would recommend these unless you have a label maker. Use a label maker
Or
do that.
Something maybe a little more frugal for that idea.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a copier and you make
Yeah.
your own labels to send your packages out,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times it will only use half the page to print
Yes.
the label. And when you cut it out, you have half of one. Well, that copier is not going to pull that half a page back up in there. I don't
No.
know, but you know what? How you put it in there, it will not do it. So you can use that half a sheet to cut up squares.
Yes.
The same thing. The same
And tape it on there.
Yep.
Now,
well, they'll stick because the label paper
yeah,
is
the label
peel off
paper.
the back and it's sticky. So
Yeah, I
you
don't.
just stick it on there.
I don't have label paper. Now the way I crochet, I'm trying to show you. This does not stick. You can put it on there in such a way that your hook's the right way, but the way I crochet, I'm trying to show you, my hand doesn't even hit that label.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So my hand doesn't even hit that label.
Mm-hmm.
So that the labels stay. So I have no issue with losing that label.
I don't think there would be any problem with the sticking, even if you did touch them.
No,
maybe
no, I've never
lotion on your hands or something.
I've never lost a label, and I've been using them since 2021.
Yeah.
What year? Oh, it's 2023. Never mind. Been using them for more than a year.
Yeah. Unless you had like a lot of lotion on your hand or something like that, and you were using your hook, maybe it might make it come off then if you were touching the label. but
And
I don't think it would. Yeah.
I clean my hooks and they still stay on there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've never had an issue one way or the other, and they're fantastic. Label your hooks. It's faster for you to find your hooks. Now, mine are done in rainbow. So I actually memorize the colors. Um, so it's a little quicker for me. I don't have to put my glasses on and look at it.
Uh-huh.
But until I memorize that color, I've got that label on there. And it
Yeah.
makes a difference.
Oh, yes. It makes a
It
big,
really
big difference.
does.
Big difference.
Another tip trick is when you make a shawl, it's good to block it to open the pattern up. I know a lot of people hate blocking, and a lot of people don't block.
I don't.
But you don't have to block it within an inch of its life. You don't. And you don't have to have blocking mats.
No.
You can do it the simple way. You can set out 2 towels, one on top of each other. You wash your item, roll it out while it's in, that way it's damp. Squeeze the water out of it. Lay it on top of the 2 towels and use pins and pin it to the 2 towels together. You need the double thickness of the towels so the pins will go through. But you can just pin it on 2 towels and it's not going to hurt nothing. You know, I mean, that's a quick and easy way to do it. Another way is hang it on the clothesline and use the clothespins to hold it out. You don't need anything fancy-dancy to do it.
Nope. Sure don't.
Long before I had blocking mats, I was just hanging it out on a clothesline or using 2 hangers at double ends in my laundry room because I have a pole in there. And, you know, one hanger here, and pinning the shawl to the hangers. I mean, it's what I did. I had to do something, you know. I mean, what else was I going to do? You hold your hooks at the back. Would a sticker work? Yeah, stickers work. Okay. Hey, Jetton.
See, well, that won't work because that's a string line. Oh, I hold my hook back here, so my hand is completely over.
Yeah.
The whole thing. There's no spot on there that my hand is not rubbing. So, Michelle, you and I will have a experiment to see if that works or not, because I'm going to do mine the same way and see, does it stick? I don't think there'll be any problem with it because what the furls are made out of, I think the sticker will stay.
I think it will.
I really, really do.
I should explain. I should explain to people. I used to hold my hook back here. When I lost my eyesight, I started holding my hook way up here.
So
way up here. I need to feel the loops on the hook. And I crochet like this. I do. I have to feel the loops. So I'm
that's
way
because
up
of your eyesight, though. Yep.
But it's because I'm visually impaired.
Yes. Yes.
I would prefer not to, but it's, you know, I knit the same way with my thumbs right up on the tip.
Yes.
Dan, don't laugh.
Well, when you have to feel of it, you know, that's something you have to do.
I have to.
And as long as you can see your loops, then you can scoot back.
Then I can.
You know, that's just the person. As
now I can crochet this way. Ooh. But when I crochet this way, I have to have my finger up on it.
Oh my gosh. Ooh.
Oh, are you kidding me? No. I can do this way.
Oh my gosh.
And I could do this way.
Well, you're just ambidextrous, aren't you?
I could do all the ways.
Do all the ways.
All the ways. I'm all around there. I can do all the ways. Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
We ain't gonna go there. We ain't gonna be up. We ain't that kind of channel. We'll get Maureen hollering at us, you know.
I know. She'll be coming in the chat.
Now Uh, Another thing that I want to share with you is if you have a pattern that you're using the back loops only, it's not so easy on a single crochet, but on a half double, a double, or anything larger, if you're using back loop only, the third bump that's on the back side, if you will put your hook through that as well when you're doing your stitch, then it's not going to pull that back loop only way up high, you know, pull it out of shape kind of thing. If you're having trouble with that, try that. Try using that third loop on the back side along with your back loop only.
So
That's
go in the back loop and look at the back. You're going to see another third loop. So
mhm,
go that way. You're going through two loops. You're going in the back loop and the third loop
mhm.
when you crochet
instead of
around.
instead of putting your hook in like this and you just go through the back loop only. What I do is I turn my hook up like this,
Yep.
go straight down into that back loop only and that third loop, and then I pull up a loop. It keeps that back loop only from stretching
It
way
does.
out of shape because you're only using one strand of yarn. It's gonna pull no matter what you do, unless you have something to anchor it to, kind of. That's
I do that in amigurumi.
mhm,
Now amigurumi is done in single crochets.
mhm.
And when I do amigurumi, I will go through the back loop and I will go through one of the legs.
Yes,
And that gives me more stability.
yes,
So I don't end up with floppy head.
hmm,
And that's how I do that.
yeah. That's I can see how I'm doing the little things that I've learned, you
Hmm.
know, over the time that I've been crocheting. Just the little things that I've learned, but I'm not that good at explaining them.
No, you're
I'm
doing
better.
great.
I'm better at showing somebody. If I'm
Yes.
crocheting, I can show you, you know, what I do. That makes it a little bit easier. But
No,
it's
no,
hard
you're
for me
great.
to get the
I
words
totally
out.
get it.
Yeah,
No, you're doing great.
yeah.
You are.
Yes, stickers from a rummage sale items. Uh huh. That
Yeah.
is absolutely good, Michelle. You've got leftover stickers. If you've had a yard sale and you bought $1 million Dollar General stickers to stick on everything, putting a 50 cent or a
Use
dollar or
those.
whatever the price is, use them. Yes, absolutely. That's reuse, reduce, and recycle.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think I am even using nail polish to
Yes,
draw the letter or numbers on your hook would work.
that's a
Um,
good idea. That would not come off.
that would not come off. Not to mention the fact that you could take it off with your nail polish remover if
Yes.
you really wanted to.
Yes. Or you could even take different colors of
Yes.
nail polish. Say your Furl's hook was red. You get some of that old El Cheapo blue stuff from the dollar
Yeah.
store and make you a dot, a
Yeah.
good sized dot on it. Then you might could take a Sharpie and write on top of the
You
nail
could.
polish.
You could.
That's not
You
gonna come
could.
off. That's
Well,
not
they
gonna
also have the white. They have
Yes,
white nail polish for doing
yes.
French
Anything
painting,
like that. Absolutely.
you know?
Absolutely. And you can get it really, really cheap at like Dollar
Oh,
Tree or
from the Dollar
Dollar
Tree.
General, any
Oh,
place like that.
absolutely.
And that's just another idea. You just have to be careful with it until it dried.
It
I'd
works
give it
great.
24 hours to dry
Oh, I would.
before I tried to ride on it.
Oh, I would. I'd give it 24 hours before I crocheted with it.
Hmm, hmm. Leslie says, whew, she's finally back home. Well,
Well,
welcome.
I'm glad you're home. Wonderful.
I'm glad you got back home too.
That's
And guys,
awesome.
I want to remind you again, please, if you are not subscribed to My Crochet Story, who is Maureen, the Southern sister that's usually on here with me,
Yes.
please go over and check her channel out. And, if it's something you think you would like, please subscribe. Leave a comment on a video, thumbs up on the video. She is so close to getting her 500 subscribers. And if you would help her out by running a playlist, she has all her videos. It says all videos at the top of her playlists. If you will run that in the background, you continue doing whatever you're doing. Just let that run in the background and help her get her watch hours up. Please, guys, let's get her monetized.
Yes.
She really deserves it. She really
Because now you only need 500 subscribers and
Yes,
3,000 watch hours for fan funding, which
yes,
means that she could turn on her super chats
that's right. And she
and her
so deserves
memberships.
it. She's working
She
so hard to build her channel up and to help people to teach them crochet, which you ain't gonna find a lot of people anymore that crochets. And if
No,
you can get one person that's learning, that's interested, then that
that's
is
great.
amazing. And she does her best to try to
Oh,
help
yeah.
people. She really does. But can you think of anything else, Fergie?
Oh, I got plenty more.
Plenty more? Well, tell us. Tell me. I need some new ones.
Okay. For those of you that are into crocheted socks,
Woo woo. That's me.
when you do the top of this, well, let's find one that, okay, near this one. When you do the top, use a bigger hook for the chain. That way, it's not hard to get your foot in and out of the sock.
And it's not hard to put your hook back in that loop to start your work either. That's a very, very good
Yes,
tip.
because that's a knitter's trick. What you guys don't know is with we work toe to the top of the sock, we will cast off with a larger needle. If we work from the top down to the toe, we will work with larger needles to start and then go back down to the smaller needles. That's a
Hmm.
knitter's trick.
Yes, absolutely.
Definitely need to do that with crochet. That's very important.
Yes,
You don't want
absolutely.
to go and do all that work on socks and not be able to put them on your feet.
Or have to stretch them to high heaven just to get them on there, and then you're going to pop your stitches.
You're going to pop your stitches, and you don't want to have that happen. Um, if y'all have any questions or any tips, make sure you drop them in the chat while
Yes,
I
please.
go on with more and more of them. Another tip I have, which there's other people on YouTube that'll tell you the same thing. If I took all day to make something or months to make something, I am not going to put it in the machine. I'm going to
No,
hand wash it because that's something important.
absolutely,
If
absolutely. And
you,
you don't have to have one of those expensive uh, soaks.
no,
You don't have to have that.
hand
Use
wash it
baby
with
shampoo.
Dawn.
Or baby shampoo is
Baby
perfect.
shampoo.
It's not gonna hurt it no matter what you do to it, and
Hand
it'll
wash it
smell
with a
good.
little bit of Dawn. It's okay.
Yep, yep. Just a little
You
drop.
know,
You don't have to have a lot. Just a
no, it,
little.
it literally takes a dime size.
Yes,
You
absolutely.
know, hand wash your item. You took, you got a blanket, wash it in your tub with, this much water.
Mm-hmm.
You took a month to make that blanket, 2 months to make that blanket. Why are you going to throw it in your machine? I mean, that doesn't
Absolutely.
make sense to me.
Absolutely.
That doesn't make sense to me.
But
I'm crazy.
even if, uh, you know, you took all that time, you only have to hand wash it one time. The very first time, hand wash. That's something that I figured out. When you hand wash it the first time and you lay it out to dry, or some you can toss in the dryer, on
on
cool
low.
cool heat. Yeah, but
Yes,
something
low.
like that. But you're gonna know after that first hand washing, after you get it dried, you're gonna see on that blanket. You're gonna know if there's a spot that's come undone. You're gonna know it right off the bat.
You're gonna
You'll
know if it's gonna hold.
yes, and then if not, fix it right away. Right away.
Yes.
Okay? And then the next time, hand wash it one more time, toss it in the dryer on just low heat or cool heat, whatever, no heat, whatever your setting says. And then
Yes.
check it one more time. Make sure that everything is going to hold together. Everything is, your knots are going to stay where they are, or all your ends are going to stay sewed into your project. Once you make sure that it's not going to come apart, then if you don't have time to hand wash or you can't be bothered to mess with it or whatever, yes, then you can put it in the washing machine, but put it on a gentle cycle.
Always use gentle cycle.
Always, 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 always.
That's your delicate cycle.
Yes.
Always use gentle cycle. Always use the low heat or the cool heat. Always use low or cool when you dry it. Now, here's another tip. Do not put latte cake made items in the dryer.
Oh, really?
No, don't.
Ooh, not even
It,
on.
it will flatten them,
Oh, man.
and then you'll have to brush them out.
Oh, man.
You must you must let latte cakes air dry.
Yes. Speaking of which,
Look what
that's
she
a good tip.
made.
That's a good tip.
That is a very good tip. You all want to see some yarn porn?
Oh, and what did
I'll wait on
Lynette
you.
Lynette says when she gives a project, she includes the yarn care instructions.
I do. I include the band.
Absolutely.
I do
Every
include the yarn.
time, put a band that comes off of the yarn into the gift with
Yes.
the project so that they can see what you made it out of. They can read how to wash it. That way, when they throw it in the washing machine and it eats it up, you can go back and say, "Well, didn't you read that band? It said no
I
washing."
I
You know,
include the band and I include my washing instructions.
yes, I do too.
And a lot of times, I don't know if I have one right here. A lot of times, I will include a sample of soak, which is wool
Yes,
wash. A lot of times, I'll include a sample of that. Not that
yes,
I expect them to use it, but if I've used bougie yarn, I'm going to give them a
yes,
sample of soak
yes,
just because
yes.
that's how I roll.
Well, now some yarns, you'd want to use the soak on, like
Yeah.
if
So,
you're using a high wool content, you
high
really
wool
do want to
content.
use the soak because you
So,
don't want to felt it.
silk, I want to do that.
Yes,
Anything containing cashmere, um, stuff like that. I'm going
yes.
to be real careful with.
And Michelle
So,
Mosaic says to attach a tag like you put
yes,
on an item for sale. If you have
yes,
them, those little tags with the string on it, you can attach one of those and handwrite the washing instructions, drying instructions if you know them. That's a really personal touch. If you can do that, that's
yeah.
very nice to do. No doubt about it. That's a
Oh,
good idea,
absolutely,
Michelle.
absolutely. So for the yarn porn, before we go, this
Yes,
is June's
yes,
hearts. It's
please.
hearts on fiber, and
Hmm.
look at the colors in there.
Absolutely
Oh, it's so
stunning.
beautiful. This is DK weight 240 yards, and it is for June 23. And I got this little stubby to go with it. It's black, so I got that to go with it.
Beautiful.
And I wouldn't be froggy unless I got this to go with it too.
Absolutely. That is
So
going to make some kind of an amazing project.
look at that.
Oh, I
So
love it. I
The
love it.
little stubbies are 116 yards. So wow, I loves it. I don't know what I'm gonna make,
It's
but
going to be amazing.
it's gonna be beautiful. But
No
there is your
doubt
daily
about it.
fiber.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Lynette, for being here. And thank you, everybody that has come in.
Thank you, God.
We have done our hour,
Yes,
but it's amazing. It's amazing to me how time flies when you're having fun.
it does.
I love chatting with you guys. I really, really do. I know I don't make a lot of videos on my channel, and I really didn't join YouTube for that specifically. So, I'm not worried about mine. But please, please go over to my crochet story and check her out.
Yes.
She needs it so badly. I mean, it would amaze me. It would just tickle me to death if she could get where she could be monetized because she really, really deserves it. She works very, very hard on her channel.
It'd be awesome.
Very, very hard. And it's my crochet story. I don't know how to drop a link to her channel, or I would. I have no idea how to do it. I'm new at this, YouTube studio stuff. But anyway, it's great to sit here and talk with you guys. But besides that, I learn a lot from you guys too. It's not
Yes.
just us coming on here telling y'all. Absolutely not. I've learned amazing things from you guys just in the chat. So don't ever be afraid to throw it out there. Tell us, let us
Yeah.
know what you think, because that's the way we help each other. That's the way we interact. That's the way we keep everybody interested in this amazing craft. That's how it happens. But you guys, be a blessing. You can if you try. To anyone you see today, just smile. That's all it takes. Be a
Yes.
blessing.
Stay safe. Be kind to one another. Thanks for
Absolutely.
having me, Connie.
Yes, and thank you, Froggy, for coming up and helping me
You're so
while
welcome.
Maureen is on the road.
So
And we
welcome.
all wish her safe travels.
We do.
Get back to Florida, sit down and be still. And when you rest a little bit, give us a howdy, howdy. Okay?
We
We love
love
you
you.
guys. Thank you for coming. Have a great day.
Love you guys.
Love ya.
Bye.